Today is April 3rd, 2025. This is on a Thursday. Today I would just like to talk about growth for demonstration purposes, or for a good example. We'll just use the example of a plant. When you think about a plant growing, what are some of the things that you think that plant may need for its optimal growth? When you think about a plant, some things that you may need for its optimal growth would be, first off, water. You definitely need water for a plant to grow. It replenishes, water hydrates and replenishes. You also need sunlight. Sunlight gives it its, height and gives it a direction to grow in. And one thing that you may not have known, some may have known, but if you pay attention, but the leaves on a plant, let's just say that you have it in a windowsill, that the leaves on that plant is going to grow towards the sunlight. Hence why I said that sunlight gives it the direction to grow in. Another thing that you need that's vital for a plant's growth would be nourishment. So the plant it will need the proper nourishment in order to grow. So if you have the proper nourishment, you have the sunlight or a source of light, you have water to help replenish and hydrate. Those are the things that a plant needs for its optimal growth. Those are very basic things. So you can, add extra additives and things to sprinkle on it, and fertilizer and all that type of things to, help with its optimal growth. But the basic things that the plant needs are basic things that are already provided by nature, are water, nourishment, and sunlight, a source of light. Now, when you think of those things, in order for the plant to grow optimally, to have all of those things, so those three things to me equals the proper environment. So if you have a plant that is in an environment that does not provide those things, then you will have stagnation. You will have a plant or a thing or whatever it may be that's not growing optimally. It may grow because some of those things are provided, but remember, we're talking about its optimal growth. So for its optimal growth, you need all of those things to come together in unison in order to provide an optimal environment, because we're trying to get all three of those things. So optimal means it's best. So you want the plant to grow at its best rate, so that it can look its best, so that it can be bountiful, and it will appear as though it has been nourished, and that it does have a source of light, and that it is in its optimal environment. So when you think about those things and those facts, and you apply that to your soul growth or your personal growth, those are also things that you will need as an individual. You will also need water or nourishment, which is just good for your body. Literal water, but also, the never-ending water from the Lord. You will also need sunlight, a source of light, which is God, and yes, the literal sunlight as well, because that also provides certain, vitamins and things of that nature. You will also need the proper environment for you to be in, which will be whatever environment promotes your soul growth, whatever environment that will promote you to continue, whatever environment that will promote you to step outside of your box, whatever environment that will promote creativity, whatever environment that will promote whatever it is for you that will make you bountiful, to appear to be bountiful, to appear to be, youthful and creative, because it takes a certain amount of youthfulness in order to be creative, because the young, when you think about creativity, young people, babies, if you think about a kindergartner can create with bare basic things. They can create an entire, a masterpiece with crayons. They can create with, building blocks. So children are very creative. So that's one thing that you never want to try to withhold or to stop or to, take away from kids is their creativity, because that's the way that they grow. That's the way that their mind expands, and that's the way that their soul grows, actually. And those are the building blocks of life. So those are the type of environments that you want to be in. You want to be in creative environments. You want to be in environments that allow you to see more and to see next level, to see, things that others don't see, because the average person may not see in color. They may, only see in black and white. They may only see monochromatic colors, but creativity allows you to see in many different colors, in a infinite amount of colors. And so those are the type of environments that you want to be in, environments that allow you to see and that allow you to live in full on color. You want to be in environments that allow you to be authentic, because that's another thing also that anything living, creature or species needs, is the ability to be authentic. You will expect a fern tree to be a fern tree. You don't expect a fern tree to provide, nuts, because that's not what a fern tree is for. You wouldn't expect a pecan tree to provide you peaches, because a pecan tree will not provide peaches, because that's not what it's for. So you want to be in an environment that allows you to be who you are meant to be, who God has called you to be. How do you know who you are meant to be and who God has called you to be? You know it because when you are being that, which you will naturally reset in your basic settings, you will naturally reset back to those initial factory settings. When you go back to being that, then that's what makes you feel good. That's where your soul feels alive. That's where your creativity flows. That's where, your mind is ignited. That's where you feel fire. That's where you feel ease. That's where you feel flow, is in your authentic self. So when you're being in your authentic self, that's an optimal environment. That's an environment that is meant for your soul growth. So we want to be mindful. We want to be watchful. We want to be intentional when we are talking about and thinking about our soul's growth. Our soul's growth is very important. It's very it's I'm trying to think of the word, like it's imperative. It's there's no other way, there's nothing else that could be more important. There's nothing else that could even possibly compare to when you are being authentic, when you are accepted, when you are seen, or when you are living in your optimal, most authentic self. And actually, when you are doing all of these things for the optimal environment, that's what will get you to be authentic. So like I said, the three things that will equal an optimal environment. Well, an optimal environment equals authenticity, actually. Optimal environment for your soul, optimal environment for you equals authenticity. So when a plant is in its optimal environment, then that plant will thrive in being authentically who the plant is, or what the plant is. It will just naturally, it will innately thrive in being authentic because it is in its optimal environment that was provided for that plant. That's why you will see tropical plants that may not do well in the northern hemisphere, because the northern hemisphere is not a tropical climate. So that tropical plant cannot thrive in colder weather because that's not what it was meant for. That is not an optimal environment for that plant. The same way, and creative soul is not meant to thrive under rigorous environments. It's not meant to thrive in sterile environments, because a creative soul needs it doesn't need lines to color inside of. It doesn't need lines to try to stay within. You cannot box in a creative soul, and that's where people get things mixed up. If you're a creative person, you will find that you may not do well in corporate jobs. You may not do well as an accountant, because that's too black and white for a creative mind or an creative soul. The same way with the children, like you have to, if you notice with children, you have to make them go against their innate ability to be wild and to be free in order for them to get to be what we see as good, or trained, or have manners and things of that nature. Children have to go against their innate self, like we train children not to be authentic. And that's actually wild if you think about it. Children come out being authentic. They naturally want to cry. They naturally want to be loud. They naturally want to, yell. They naturally want to climb and not be still. But we train children to go against their authenticity, which is something that we should learn from. Like, we could actually learn from kids. Kids like to play. They don't meet strangers. They cannot know a kid, and that kid becomes their best friend. But we have to overthink everything and think about what it looks like, and And then who will, not like you if you are friends with this person, and things of that nature. But if you're being authentically you, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who, what, when, or where. It really doesn't even matter what the other person motives is, because your antenna is going to automatically go up, and they can't use any more of you than what you allow. So you may know that a person doesn't have the best intentions, and since you know that, you may only allow them in to a certain point, if you allow them in. And to that person, they think that they had the upper hand on you, but they never did, because they never had a hand on you at all, because they never even got the chance to meet the authentic you. They only got a chance to meet you to a certain extent, because with everybody, you can't allow everybody to see all of you, because some people can't handle all of you, all of who you are. A lot of people can't handle all of who you are when you're a boundless person. Boundless people have boundless imagination, have boundless dreams, have boundless everything, boundless abilities. So everyone can't handle the amount of your boundlessness, your abundance. Everyone can't handle that. So you can only allow people to meet you at the level that they are, and that may shock some people, because they may later on learn that you actually had much more in you than what you shown. So just to get back to basics, for your optimal soul growth, you will need a replenisher. You will need a source of light. You will need the optimal environment for your soul growth. All of those three things will get you to your sense of authenticity. So those three things will help you to be authentic, and will get you to which authenticity is your optimal level. That's the optimal level of your soul, is authenticity. And that's what we all should be aiming for. That's what the goal in life is. That's where we can share from, is our level of authenticity. You can share from your level of authenticity. Your level of authenticity is a place for people to learn. It's a place that shows other people, it's an example for others. So let's all try to get to the place of authenticity, and let's live there. Let's not allow that to kind of be a place where we kind of live in and out of. Let's allow that to be our home. Authenticity should be our home.